President Biden also looking to turn back another Trump achievement, the judiciary. The Biden administration is moving forward with forming a commission that will look at reforming not only the Supreme Court, but also the federal judiciary. That includes Supreme Court expansion. Several members have already been added to the commission, including at least one person who has voiced support in the past for Supreme Court expansion. But as a senator, Biden opposed such a move.
President Roosevelt clearly had the right to send to the United States Senate and the United States Congress a proposal to pack the court. It was totally within his right to do that. He violated no law. He was legalistically absolutely correct, but it was a bonehead idea. It was a terrible, terrible mistake to make, and it put in question, for an entire decade, the independence of the most significant body, including the Congress, in my view, the most significant body in this country.
But then last year, during the campaign and in the midst of an Amy Coney Barrett confirmation process, then candidate Biden didn't think it was such a bonehead idea, but still said he wasn't a fan.
I have not been a fan of court packing because I think it just generates what will happen. Whoever wins, it just keeps moving in a way that is inconsistent with what is going to be manageable.
So you're still not a fan?
Well, I'm not a fan. I then say it depends on how this turns out.
The news of a commission comes as a coalition of 8 progressive groups are putting pressure on the Democratic administration and Congress to take advantage of being empowered to undo conservative gains to the judiciary that occurred under the Trump administration. Among their list of demands are 4 key demands. Number 1, expand the number of justices on the Supreme Court. 2, expanding lower federal courts. 3, enacting term limits for Supreme Court justices. And 4, improving ethics and transparency requirements for justices. Overall, Trump appointed 226 judges in a single term. That included Trump's 3 Supreme Court justices, but also a very significant 54 federal appellate judges in just 4 years. To put that in perspective, President Obama only did 55 within 2 terms. But now that the election is over, exactly where does President Biden stand on packing the court today? I reached out to the White House to find out, but have not yet gotten an answer. Bob?
All right. They keep just not answering Emerald. Because
yeah.
She's asking good questions.
I was just going to say the same thing. She's asking good questions.
Well, many Republicans believe that President Biden's executive orders are implementing the left's radical agenda. One of those Republicans, Georgia Congressman Jody Hice, he tweeted this: President Biden's unprecedented opening salvo of executive orders implementing the left's radical agenda has one major underlying theme. Biden will happily sacrifice the well-being and livelihood of millions of Americans to appease a few extremist activists. And joining us now to give us some more perspective on that, on President Biden's executive orders and some other things, is Representative Jody Hice himself. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to see you again.
Likewise, good to see you. Thanks for having me.
So let's begin with some of the executive orders happening today and your thoughts, as Emerald was just reporting for us, on his plans to possibly pack the court, expand the Supreme Court, expand Obamacare, and fund overseas abortions.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a continuing push of the radical left-wing agenda. It's all he's doing. And you know, what I said in my statement earlier is exactly true. He's trying to appease a radical left-wing base, and in so doing, he is proving that he is willing to throw the livelihood, the well-being of this country and the citizens of America under the bus. This is no way to achieve unity, and he's going about things just the exact opposite way that he should be focused on right now.
I'm kind of curious, Congressman, of the process of trying to do some of these things. We know that they have a very slight majority in the House and 50-50, I'm talking about the Democrats, in the Senate with the vice president. But when they want to get through something to change the Supreme Court, if they want to try to get D.C. or Puerto Rico as a state, wouldn't they have to overcome that filibuster law? So they'd have to have 60 votes. So doesn't that make it unlikely? They could talk about it, but is that actually likely to happen?
It's not likely to happen. I mean, this impeachment is a sham from the very beginning. This is 2.0 of just an absolute nothing impeachment. And here we have a former president who is not even in office right now, and yet they're trying to impeach him. I mean, that's impossible to do. Impeachment is designed to deal with a sitting president in this case, who has committed high crimes and misdemeanors. And now we're talking about a private citizen right now, former President Trump, a private citizen who is no longer president. How do you impeach someone who's not even there? And the Democrats know that, and the Republicans obviously know it as well. This is just nothing other than a continued push of their radical agenda out of hatred for the president. And it's an attempt for them, likewise, to continue trying to pave the way to push their socialist agenda and to ensure that President Trump does not run again in 4 years. But it's going to fail.
Yeah, it's interesting when you speak with some different state leaders, really all across the country. They really haven't been included in any conversations in terms of all of these executive orders that are coming down, but they're directly impacted. One of the orders specifically, or all of the orders that have to do with the oil and gas industry. I know you, along with about, 3 dozen other Republican House members, sent a letter over saying that, you wanted President Biden to reconsider what you said were dangerous and sweeping actions taken against that industry.
Yeah, I mean, why in the world would we shoot ourselves in the foot when we are just achieving energy independence and then all of a sudden stop that altogether? It's a national security risk. It's putting at risk our energy independence, and not to mention the cost of jobs of literally thousands of Americans who depend on their livelihoods, depend on Keystone and other such industry mechanisms and job opportunities. And yet here comes President Biden right out of the gate doing away with this. It makes zero sense. It is a drastically ill-thought decision, and it's going to have ramifications in an extremely negative way on our country, as well as the economy and the livelihood of many Americans.
Over 40 executive orders and actions. What else gets your attention that you take issue with?
Well, what really concerns me is how the president is absolutely giving in to the radical extremist of his party. He talks out of one side of the mouth with the desire to have unity, but the reality, it is impossible to have unity when you're pushing socialism. Liberty, on the one hand, cannot coexist with socialism. And yet he talks about having unity while at the same time taking away freedoms and liberties of American citizens and pushing a socialistic agenda that's just incompatible with the direction we need to be going. And what he's doing again today with the executive order trying to re-implement Obamacare, again, is just the opposite of what we should be focused on. The problem with Obamacare has never been enrollment. The problem has been people don't like it, it's too expensive, and it takes away competition. So therefore, we should be allowing the free market and insurance companies to compete with one another. That's how you lower the cost of insurance. So he's just trying to appease his liberal base, in this case, trying to get Medicare for all, which is going to be, again, a disaster for our country.
Congressman Hice, we're out of time, but just briefly, can you please comment on what's going on with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene? Since you're both from there in Georgia, there are calls for her to be dismissed or denounced.
Well, look, she is representing her district, and I never throw colleagues under the bus. She's doing the best she can to represent her district, and I'm honored to work with her in that regard. You know, there's some things she says sometimes I certainly disagree with personally, but I cannot apologize for her comments. Those are hers to apologize for if she wants to. But look, the radical left is trying to get rid of many members of Congress, and again, that's going to fail. We cannot silence people just because we don't like their particular points of views.
Congressman, thank you very much, sir. Congressman Jody Hice.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.